Human behavior is the invisible force that shapes every relationship we build. Yet most people never consciously study it. They feel relationships failing or succeeding without understanding why at the core every lasting relationship begins with awareness of self and awareness of others. Human beings are not purely logical creatures. We are emotional, neurological, and deeply conditioned by past experiences from childhood onward. Every interaction we have is filtered through beliefs, fears, expectations, and emotional memories. When two people connect, they are not just meeting in the present moment. They are bringing their entire psychological history into that connection. This is why misunderstandings happen so easily and why love alone is never enough to sustain a relationship over time. Lasting relationships are built when both individuals understand how human behavior actually works rather than how they wish it worked. One of the most important truths is that behavior is driven by unmet needs. People do not react to situations, they react to what those situations mean to them emotionally. A raised voice is not just sound, it can mean danger, rejection, or disrespect depending on past conditioning. Similarly, silence can feel peaceful to one person and deeply threatening to another. Understanding this principle changes everything, because instead of blaming behavior, you begin to explore the underlying need behind it. Humans are wired for safety, belonging, and significance. When these needs are met, people feel calm, cooperative, and open. When they are threatened, people become defensive, controlling, or withdrawn. Many relationship conflicts are not about the surface issue, but about a perceived threat to emotional safety. Another key foundation is self-awareness. Most people expect others to understand them without first understanding themselves. If you do not know your own triggers, emotional wounds, and communication patterns, you will unconsciously project them onto others. Self-awareness means recognizing your emotional reactions in real time, noticing when fear rather than logic is driving your response. For example, jealousy often disguises itself as concern, anger often hides hurt, and control often hides insecurity. When you develop awareness of these internal dynamics, you gain the power to respond instead of react. This alone can transform the quality of your relationships. Human behavior is also deeply influenced by expectations. We subconsciously expect others to behave in ways that match our internal rules. These rules are rarely spoken and often unrealistic. When others violate them, we feel disappointed or betrayed, even if they never agreed to those expectations. Healthy relationships require conscious expectation management. Clearly communicating needs, boundaries, and values, rather than assuming they are understood. Another overlooked aspect is emotional regulation, the ability to stay grounded during emotional intensity. Relationships are not damaged by conflict. They are damaged by unmanaged emotions. People who lack emotional regulation escalate situations, shut down, or resort to manipulation, not because they are bad, but because their nervous system feels overwhelmed. Learning to pause, breathe, and self-regulate allows you to maintain connection even during disagreement. Trust, another pillar of lasting relationships, is built through consistency, not grand gestures. The human brain trusts patterns, not promises. Repeated small actions create a sense of predictability, which signals safety. This is why words without aligned behavior erode trust over time, and why reliability is more powerful than charm. Understanding human behavior also means accepting that people change over time. Relationships fail when individuals cling to outdated versions of each other. Growth requires flexibility, curiosity, and continuous learning about your partner as they evolve. Empathy plays a central role. Empathy is not agreement. It is the ability to understand another person's internal experience without losing your own perspective. When empathy is present, defensiveness decreases and cooperation increases. The brain literally shifts from threat mode to connection mode when it feels understood. Lastly, lasting relationships require responsibility. Responsibility for your emotional state, your communication, and your choices. Blaming others for how you feel gives away your power, while ownership restores it. When two individuals take responsibility instead of keeping score, relationships become a space for growth rather than conflict. This foundation of understanding human behavior sets the stage for deeper emotional intelligence, attachment awareness, and communication mastery, which together form the blueprint for relationships that do not just survive but truly last. Emotional intelligence is the skill that determines how effectively you navigate relationships, because it governs how you perceive emotions, interpret them, and respond under pressure. At its core, emotional intelligence begins with self-awareness, the ability to recognize what you are feeling while you are feeling it. Most people only realize their emotions after they have already reacted, which is why arguments escalate and connections break. Self Awareness slows this process down and creates a space between stimulus and response. In that space lies choice. When you can name an emotion, you reduce its power over you. Neuroscience shows that labeling emotions activates rational brain regions, which calm emotional reactivity. This means that simply acknowledging, I feel hurt, threatened, or insecure can prevent defensive behavior. Emotional intelligence also involves understanding emotional triggers. Triggers are emotional shortcuts created by past experiences. When a current situation resembles a past emotional wound, the brain reacts as if the original threat is happening again, even when it is not. This explains why small issues sometimes provoke intense reactions. Without awareness, triggers control behavior. With awareness, they become signals for healing rather than sources of conflict. Another critical component is emotional literacy, the ability to differentiate between emotions. Many people describe everything as stress, anger, or sadness, but emotions are nuanced. Frustration, disappointment, fear, shame, and loneliness require different responses. When emotional vocabulary is limited, communication suffers because others cannot meet needs that are not clearly expressed. Self-regulation is the practical application of emotional intelligence. It is the ability to calm yourself without relying on others to fix your emotional state. This does not mean suppressing emotions. It means processing them in a healthy way through breathing, reflection, movement, or expression. Emotionally intelligent individuals do not avoid discomfort. They manage it responsibly, which makes them safer partners because their emotional state does not unpredictably destabilize the relationship. Empathy is the outward expression of emotional intelligence. It allows you to tune into another person's emotional reality without absorbing it. Empathy requires presence, listening without planning a response, and curiosity rather than judgment. When people feel emotionally seen, their nervous system relaxes and defensiveness fades. This creates deeper intimacy and trust. Emotional intelligence also includes boundary awareness, knowing where you end and another person begins without boundaries. Empathy turns into emotional exhaustion and resentment. Healthy relationships balance compassion with self-respect, recognizing that understanding someone does not require tolerating harm. Another often ignored aspect is emotional accountability. Emotionally intelligent people take responsibility for their emotional responses instead of blaming others for causing them. This does not mean excusing harmful behavior. It means acknowledging that feelings are internally generated by interpretation, not externally imposed. This mindset restores personal power and reduces chronic conflict. Emotional intelligence strengthens relationships because it replaces reactivity with intentionality. It transforms arguments into conversations and misunderstandings into opportunities for connection. When both individuals practice self-awareness, regulation, empathy, and accountability, relationships shift from emotional chaos to emotional safety. This level of emotional maturity sets the foundation for deeper attachment, understanding, and communication clarity, which are essential for relationships that endure over time.